Welcome to our daily reflection for this Tuesday, November 12th. And the reading from Titus today that we begin with talks about good doctrine and following good doctrine. And that means living good teaching in our lives, in our moral lives. And what he is calling them not to live is godless lives, because they're converts now. So they were in the world, they were Gentiles and pagan, but now they have to be reminded that they cannot live in a godless way. And what is a godless way? It means desiring the things that are vain, what we heard about yesterday from Psalm 24. And so the call is to not have worldly desires, but to live temperately, justly. In other words, you're not seeking to gain the things of this world, but to love and be in relationship with others. That's what matters, not things, but people. And that's a difference between a worldly desire and a godly desire. Worldly desires aim towards things and even objectify people, thinking of their bodies versus them as persons. And so that's the difference between the worldly and the godly desire. And then when we move to the gospel today, Jesus talks to his disciples about, okay, yep, you want to be godly, you don't want to be worldly, but then the danger and the temptation is, as you serve in the kingdom of God, you could think that you're kind of privileged and that you're owed. You know, I'm doing God a good favor, I'm serving others, and so I'm kind of really special. And Jesus wants to remind us that we're called to be servants, and so if we serve faithfully, we should see ourselves as only doing what God has asked, that we're only doing our duty, and that we're not that great, and we shouldn't have big egos, and we shouldn't be self-satisfied. And so the temptation in serving in the kingdom of God is to think that we're better than others. And I love, he says, who has a servant who, when his servant serves all day, when he comes in, he asks the servant to serve a meal. And, he is not like astonished and grateful, but the servant has done what he is expected to do. And we have to see ourselves as servants. And when I think about this parable, it reminds me of an old prayer, ancient prayer of the Jesuits that I love. And it says, Lord, teach me to be generous. Teach me to serve you as you deserve, to give and not to count the cost, to fight and not to heed the wounds, to toil and not to seek for rest, to labor and not to ask for reward, except that of doing your will. That is a servant's prayer. And that's what Jesus is calling us to today. And so I think of this prayer as I reflect on this gospel and hope that prayer serves you today, and that you can look that up again and again. I know people are going to ask me to repeat it, so I'll say it one more time. Lord, teach me to be generous. Teach me to serve you as you deserve, to give and not to count the cost, to fight and not to heed the wounds, to toil and not to seek for rest, to labor, but to ask for no reward except that of doing your will. May the Lord bless and keep you.
This daily reflection is brought to you thanks to the generous support of the Mission Circle. Join the Mission Circle to help Catholics worldwide understand, live, and share their faith. Sign up at missioncircle.org today.